Hello, folks. I am Ken Briota, Editorial Director for IoT Evolution World, and you are here on a special live IoT time from the IoT Evolution Expo. We're going to be talking about all week, all about the IoT and everything that's happening here, and I'm with one of my favorite people right now. This is Kevin from My Devices, and we're going to talk about the rising tide and how the IoT industry is about collaboration. You know, I know you have a theory that you've been pushing here a little bit, and so why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, cool. So, I think, IoT, everybody keeps talking about it. It's evolving, but what's the next step? Like, how do we get to the next level, right? And so for me, I'm looking at it as not just ease of use, but also what is a real IoT project, right? And to me, it's a whole bunch of different hardware manufacturers that could be connecting up in many different ways. So I'll go kind of old school here. If you can imagine a collage, right, back in the day, you would go and get a People magazine, you'd cut out a picture, you'd throw it on the collage. You'd take a National Geographic, cut out a picture, you'd throw it on the collage. And you start mashing all these things up. Well, the same thing needs to happen in IoT. So, for example, in an agricultural or an industrial environment, not all the devices are going to be built by one hardware manufacturer. And some might be coming through Wi-Fi, some might be coming through LoRa, some might be coming through cellular. Yeah. So you need to put them all into like a collage and mash them up. Then once you have them all there, then you need to be able to connect them, like do rules and triggers and scheduling and all that other stuff. But until you can get all these different devices from all these different manufacturers, sensors, motors, either at the edge or the gateway, mashed up into this collage-type environment, you'll never get true, easy IoT.
Well, of course, it begs the question, the connectivity standards. I mean, we need a universal translator or something that's really going to allow all these devices to go through a hub or something so that they really can interconnect. Otherwise, people are always going to have the, why won't this sync with this problem over and over again? I mean, how do we address that?
I think that's where actually IoT platforms get their legs. So in this early adopter stage, that's one of the things we do, right? So we make these devices talk to each other. Now, ultimately, there will be a standard, and there will be standards, and it will be easier. But in the meantime, companies like us and any other IoT platform, we're bringing these devices and we're normalizing the data so that we can make this device talk to this device. So I think there's a short-term solution, which is these IoT platforms. And when I say short-term, I think it's probably a few years, actually.
Yeah, sort of up-converting all of the various signals into one common and then reconverting them out into what they need to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So then you'll have, I have to play devil's advocate here, although I typically agree broadly, that the argument, well, I just want to work with one guy, though. And for me, I feel like that's a little bit short-term, like short-sighted, because there's never going to be one fix-all solution. You're never that's why you have different software makers that for your PC, whatever.
Yeah.
So what's your argument to somebody who says, I just want to work with one person or one company or whatever that'll do everything?
Yeah. Well, I think when they choose their IoT solution provider, I do think they should choose probably one company. But it's the things that are going to be used in their solution aren't going to come from one company. So the hardware could be coming from 10 different companies. And something might be connecting through Wi-Fi, something might be connecting through Bluetooth, something might be through LoRa. I do think you need to choose the one company to help you solve that problem. But the stuff that's going to be used to solve your problem is going to be coming from a whole bunch of different manufacturers.
All right. And of course, the end result, we would all hope, is that eventually it's invisible. You never have to worry about how does this connect to this, because the system will do that for itself. Once we get to the point where we've got connectivity standards and communication standards and that sort of thing.
Yep.
I say that I argue endlessly with the Gartner prediction numbers and all these things that happen. That where you say 20 billion connected devices and all that stuff. I think that's all irrelevant.
It is irrelevant. I was going to say, who cares?
Because if by 2025, when they're talking about these numbers, we haven't gotten to the point where nobody's talking about the IoT anymore because it's invisible and everywhere, then we've missed.
Yes.
We haven't done it right. We've made a mistake along the way somewhere, I think.
Yeah. One area that we're really looking at is discovery, device discovery and sensor discovery. Yeah. So not just discovering, but then automatically adding them on.
Finding plug and play.
Plug and play, yeah. I mean, the funny thing is we're not really inventing anything new. It's all just the reinvention of what has always happened with technology. I mean, you look at CRMs and what Salesforce did with their CRM. They made it super easy and approachable.
Yeah.
What the iPhone did for smartphones, it's easy and approachable. All very powerful, but easy and approachable, and you just don't think about things. It just works.
Yeah.
So we're kind of still in that awkward phase where you've got to think about it to make it work, and I think that's the hard part.
Yeah. Well, that's about all the IoT time we have for right now. But why don't you tell the folks where they can find you online and find out more about My Devices?
Cool. So go to mydevices.com, and we're actually announcing tomorrow a solution where developers can create their own IoT projects for free. So go to our site, sign up, and thank you very much.
All right. And folks, you can find out more about me and all the news in the IoT at IoTEvolutionWorld.com. Make sure you watch IoT Time and listen to the IoT Time podcast. And the very next episode of that podcast will be all about this announcement. So we will see you all on the interwebs. And thank you, folks. That's all the IoT Time we have for now.